Welcome to GamerStation's Browser Games of the Week for the week of April 2nd, and I'm your host, as always, Steven Snakeyukin Lindsay. Number 10 this week, Anti-Caste. Now, I'm gonna admit up front, there are several gameplay issues in this game, so much that certain people may not be able to look past it. But if you look past that, you'll probably find an interesting story with several good animations, depending on how you look at it. Now, in this game you control Leon, a high school student who's been brought into a strange world after nodding off in his class. Anyways, as soon as he wakes up, there's a note left on his desk by Sarah, who is a girl this character is crushing over. And not to be confused with my ex-girlfriend that dumped me about a month ago. The game is controlled in a usual point-and-click style of game, as in, there's arrows on screens, they take you to a different screen, maybe you have to pick up an item on a screen, and sometimes you gotta use an item on another item to get more items. Now, as I mentioned earlier, there are several gameplay issues, such as glitches in the game, spelling and grammar errors, and the fight mechanics that happen at the very end of the game almost can be really quite annoying, so much that you may quit playing the game. Now, this game would be much higher on our list if those issues had simply been fixed, but I must say, the story, well, it was something that I enjoyed, and that's the reason it's getting on our list, because of that story, and I'm looking forward to the next part in this series. Number 9, Beneath the Waves. Now, this game is a platformer set in a world where the sun and sea were once lovers. I don't know how that's possible or how it would work out, but apparently it didn't work out that well because their relationship is now sour. I guess the flame was gone. Oh, that's a bad joke. Anyways, you are a servant of the sun and are trying to find all the idols that the sea has, which the sun gave to when they were in a more romantic mood. So you're tasked with bringing those idols back to pedestals on land. Now, only when you hold those idols do you have some type of help. So after 3 hits, you'll drop the idol and you'll be forced to go and pick it up from wherever it happened to drop to, which really isn't usually that far away from where you last had it anyways. On the downside though, sometimes the controls can be a little too slick. Now mainly this applies to only when you're in water though. Number 8, Rebecca Whack Friday. Now this is a distance game based upon the virally loved, hated, and/or memed video Friday. You know the one, Friday, Friday, that's all I know of the song. Anyways, your goal is to go 1 mile in a single turn. Like nearly all distance games, there's an upgrade to buy after each throw. Now, I will say, sometimes the physics seem a little wonky, and, well, it's kinda low on the list because, well, there's not a lot of new stuff, I guess. Except it involves cars. Number 7, Front Runner. Now this is a shmup with a slight musical quality about it. And when I say there's a slight musical quality about it, I mean very slight musical quality about it. There's notes, and when you hit them, they give a little sound. Firing is automatic, which I'm not the biggest fan of, and also you control your ship with the mouse, which of course I'm also not the biggest fan of, but that's personal preference, and I'm not holding it against the game. Anyways, after each level, you can power up your ship with the musical notes that you've collected during your run. Now, this game is fun, but I can't say that a lot of it really stands out from any other shmup, except for the slight musical quality about it. Number 6, Pokemon Tower Defense. It's a tower defense game with Pokemon. Like Pokemon, you collect Pokemon and Pokeballs and level up Pokemon so they're better against other Pokemon. Sometimes when you level up a Pokemon, that Pokemon evolves into a different Pokemon, and that Pokemon is supposed to be better than the previous Pokemon. Unlike most tower defense games, upgrades to a Pokemon carry over from stage to stage because Pokemons can go into Pokeballs, and Pokeballs are quite easy to carry around unlike towers. Also, on levels you can move around your Pokemon too for about the same reason. Now the downside to it is there's an uninteresting story, unless maybe you like Pokemon, and there's a glitch involving the placement of Pokemon and where you actually have your Pokemon at and where the mouse is. Also, you may have to grind your Pokemon's levels just to be able to get past the first gym's boss. And I don't think that's even based upon what type of starter Pokemon you even have. And also, I really wish I could add my Psycho Duck, though he might kill me. We're halfway through our list, and that means it's time for our classic browser game of the week. And our pick for this week is Toss the Turtle. Now this game, in my opinion, made the current distance games. I'm not saying that there weren't games before this one that were doing similar things, but I think this was the main one that kind of had all these ideas of upgrades and all that everyone started to copy. Anyways, for the game itself, it's pretty much like any distance game now. Your goal is to shoot a turtle as far as you can in a single turn. Though there are several distance games now, this one still stands out and is extremely fun. Getting back on our list, at number 5, Drop. Now this is a voider game involving a skydiver. Now you can crash into objects if you have enough energy in your power bar. If you don't have enough energy, it's game over. The longer you survive, the faster it gets, like you probably would expect to get. Anyways, the main goal of the game really is just get as high of a score as you can for bragging rights, which I don't have. Number 4, Dino Run Marathon of Death. Now this is pretty much Dino Run, but more of a survive as long as you can this time around. Also, admittedly by the developer himself, this is just a way to help promote and draw attention to Dino Run SE, his downloadable $3 version of the Dino Run game, with extra content of course. Now, I gotta say, there's not much content added to this game. In fact, it's kind of subtractive because there's no real levels, you can't change the color of your dinosaur or add anything that I'm aware of. But maybe there's a little bit more smoothness in the graphics and gameplay, a little, but I still had issues jumping at times. But if you didn't like the original Dino Run, this isn't going to change your opinion. But if you like the original Dino Run, then this is more or less the same, but now it's about bragging rights. Number 3, Still Curse. Now this is a text-heavy, turn-based RPG. To be more precise, the main portion of the game that you'll be playing has lots of text that you have to read and click on certain text to proceed the game. But the battles are played out automatically and you have no control in what happens, so it's kind of like luck. But you do have the ability to choose, well, spells and abilities, which of course primarily will be probably healing. Now, there are several different avatars that you can choose from at the very beginning of the game, but there's no classes to choose from. Though some of these avatars might seem like they lean towards one or another, you start off with the same stats and you get the same equipment and have the same spells no matter which avatar you have, which, in a way, I'm alright with. Now, I gotta admit, this is RPG. It's text heavy. I didn't play that far into it, because I have other games I had to play and a video to record. But the story seems to be this. You're an adventurer and bad things are happening around the world and it's up to you to kill stuff. The downside to it is you can't use items during battles, and there's a lot of reading that some of you may or may not want to do. Number 2, Prior. You are a test subject who's awoken from isolation, and your door has mysteriously been opened, allowing you some free time. In a way, this game sort of reminds me of a Metroidvania style of gameplay. Starting out, you only have a single jump, but later on you have a few new moves that open up new areas for you to go into. But there's not really a lot of exploration, and if you do go in any areas, you don't really get any new items that help you out, so it's really not like Metroidvania at all. But anyways, like Metroid, there is a mood of isolation, and you really want to find somebody, anybody, to help you find out answers about yourself and what's going on. But sometimes you probably really don't want to know those answers. Now, there are 3 endings to this game that you can get. Of course, it's not really based upon what actions you did during the game. It's more of what direction do you want to go to finish the level off. Right, down, up, left, something along those lines. And our number 1 browser game for this week is Bullet Heaven. Ah! I see what you did there. It's not Bullet Hell, it's Bullet Heaven. And also, you might be able to tell by the graphics and characters in this game, this is by the same people that made Epic Battle Fantasy, because every single game from them that I know about has the same characters in them. So as you can probably deduce from me mentioning bullet hell, this game has a lot of bullets that you gotta dodge, and it's somewhat like hell. And also, since there's lots of bullets that you gotta dodge, I'll fail miserably at the game. You have 2 attacks plus a bomb attack. Your primary fire increases in volley as you let it charge. The lower it is, the less you are able to shoot. Now, you collect money to upgrade your character, and as I say that means you can have multiple characters that you can choose and unlock. Now, this is fun, even if you aren't great at these type of games. Even me, I can play this game over and over and over again, even though I will die a lot. And with that, that brings us to the end of this week's Browser Games of the Week. Now, if you don't know, every Sunday, outside of YouTube eating our videos, we'll have a new video in this series. And also on Wednesdays, we have our Gamer Station Indie Game News, which is where we talk about some of the latest happenings in the indie game world. So subscribe to us to be up to date on all those videos and anything else that we may do.